So I guess we are live now, and thank you for joining us for today's session. And as I mentioned earlier, we can make this very informal. If you want to interrupt, ask questions, please feel free to do so.
Patients aren't searching for you,
And
they're searching for patients.
I would try to answer those questions as we go on. Again, you can put your questions on the chat section. I don't have a moderator today, so it may take a while till I get to those questions. But again, you can raise your hand, and if somebody would like to moderate, please welcome. You can raise your hand, and I can give you the moderator role. And we will be talking about ChatGPT. And we as physicians, how we're going to make the best out of it. So ChatGPT the GPT stands for Generative Retrained Transformer. And of course, there are many AI systems available. I'm just going to be talking about ChatGPT, and we may also mention about the Open Evidence AI that is going to be of good use for you guys. So we're going to focus on how physicians can make good use of this technology. And let me start by saying that many opportunities in life may be missed if you fail to stay abreast with evolving technologies. Yes, maybe AI is still in the beginning. A lot of physicians say that, well, I don't see any use for this in my field. It's giving me wrong information. I don't want to use it. I don't rely on it. However, it's going to get better. And when it gets better, if you're behind, you may not be able to catch up. So let me start by saying, what is ChatGPT? So it is an AI system that utilizes the large language model, LLM. This system is trained on a massive amount of text data. And when I say text data, meaning everything available on the internet to a specific date that this model was trained on. And it is text, and now we have images too. It generates natural language responses, meaning that is human-like responses, but it only responds to specific prompts. And that's what we're going to be talking or detailing in our talk about today, how you can put a good prompt for the system so you can generate good response. So I have University Children's Hospital raising the hand. You can unmute and ask question if you want. I'm not sure if this is an old raise of the hand, but if you just raised your hand, you can interrupt me and ask question. And I think you're at the level of a panelist, or now you are, okay? Now, this system also interacts with the user in conversational style. It means that you can talk back and forth. You can ask questions, you can clarify. If you don't understand something, ask a system, and I'm going to refer to the system by him. So you can ask him, you can ask ChatGPT to clarify to you. Then you can ask ChatGPT also, please tell me what questions should I ask you? So it is really neat in a way that if you know how to use a system, you can get better very quickly. ChatGPT uses logical reasoning. It can talk, see, interact. It gives insights. It provides feedback, and it learns. So as we go forward, is going to get better and better. By the way, most of the or all the images that you see on this PowerPoint presentation are generated by AI system. And there are some disclosures that I want to make clear before we dig in further. ChatGPT is not HIPAA compliant. So please do not share any patient's information, any identifying information for the patient. You may get into trouble because of that. So if you have an image, X-ray you want to upload, a file you want to upload to the system, make sure that you erase any identifying information. Disclosure number 2, even though they claim that ChatGPT is going to give you a genuine response, it can plagiarize. The final responsibility is upon you to check and edit before you send any summary or writing or script generated by AI. So it can help you put the draft, but you have the responsibility to check and edit and make sure that nothing or small percentage of the writing is plagiarized. You don't want to have that flagged on your writing, so everybody knows that you're doing AI. The third disclosure, ChatGPT can hallucinate. So it can give you things that are not factional. You need to check for the facts. We work with data that should be 100% accurate, and ChatGPT is not going to provide this for you, at least at this point. And then I want to explain the system for you. So when you understand the system, you probably be able to understand how it works better. And then you will be able to utilize it in a good way. So essentially, you're giving a text prompt. You're writing something, and then you get the output either as text, as images, as video. As you see here, this video is generated by AI or by music. You can generate voice and music. You can see this is oud. If you can hear, I'm not sure if you can hear that or not, but this oud music is generated by AI. And this is only based on the text prompt that I ask the system. Now, somebody would ask, so how is it different from Google? I can use Google search. I can get the information I need. It is very accurate. I can select what I want from it. So let me clarify the differences. In terms of functionality, search engine uses the web content. ChatGPT uses the web content that he's trained on, but he does that as a human-like conversational way, and he responds to text prompts from you. Now, for the memory, you probably know that Google has a long-term memory. There's a short-term and long-term memory. If you search for something on Google, and let's just say you search for a special kind of car that you want to buy, let's just say the Toyota, that information is stored as cookie, and the search engine would be able to access this cookie at later time and know that you were interested in searching for cars of brand Toyota, and that's why you start seeing the advertisements related to that search that you put. Now, ChatGPT does not do that. ChatGPT is session-based. The memory of ChatGPT is session-based. There is no long-term tracking or memory. It has short-term memory, and that short-term memory is determined by the number of tokens. And depending on what ChatGPT version you're using, if you're using the free version, I think the limit is up to 4,000 tokens, and we can explain what tokens mean. And for ChatGPT 4.0, which is a paid version of it, the limit is up to 8,000 tokens. And ChatGPT knows information within these tokens only. If you close a session, nothing is stored. But you need to know whatever you upload to ChatGPT, whatever you interact with ChatGPT or OpenAI, which is the company behind it, can make use of this. Your information is not going to be private, but it's not available on the net. It's available for the OpenAI to be able to train the system in a better way. In terms of data privacy, and this is what I just mentioned, ChatGPT does not retain personal data post the session. However, Google collects extensive user data. It will get to your IP address. It will know the system that you're using, whether you're on your laptop, you're on your phone, what version you're using, so what language you're using. So it collects a lot of information, and it stores this information for later use and specifically for advertisements. With Google, it provides links and direct answers from the web. The answers that you get from ChatGPT are different. You don't get links to where the information reside. What you get is you get text response to assist you, analyze the information, compare two articles, give you insight, and engage in conversation with you, among other functions that we can talk about. And the interaction style for Google is either direct snippets, links, and structured data. However, in ChatGPT, is text-based responses in conversational format. And we will see some examples of this. So HMH, you want to talk? If you have a question, I gave you the mic. You can ask the question.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Mazen. It's Hassan here. I'm happy to help as a moderator. Hi,
Oh,
Mazen.
great.
It's Hassan
Thank you.
here. I'm
Thank you
happy
very
to be a
much,
moderator.
Hassan. Okay, I will.
All right.
Okay. Okay, Hassan, go ahead. Accept the invitation. All right. Now, how does it work? So please pay attention with me. It is very important to understand how it works, so you'll be able to utilize the system in a good way. Again, I'm just concentrating on how we're going to use the system as physicians. There's so much application for this system in things related to our personal life that I'm not going to be talking about. So it is a predictive model. What does that mean? We ask the system, we put an input here. We call this independent variable. And then this input would go into a series of transformation operations. Very complicated. You don't see that. Hidden layers. This is what we call the neural network. It's a complex network that will relate the information that you put, which are in text messages. It will divide the phrases into what we call tokens. And each token will be given a number that the computer will understand. And then the tokens will be compared to each other in terms of probability. I will give an example so you can understand this. Based on this probability, meaning that what is the likelihood that this word is associated with another word that you input into the system, it will be your output. The one that has the highest probability will be your output, and this is the dependent variable, which is dependent on what you put in the system and how likely this output is related to the input that you put. So let's ask the system a simple question. What are the best things about AI? This is what I ask the system. So the system gets the best thing about AI is the ability to learn, predict, make, understand, and do. So what did I do? I put into the system, I need to know the best thing about AI. So what happened in the system is the following. So it took these words, the best thing about AI is its ability to. So what's the likelihood that this phrase is going to be associated with something like the ability to eat? Well, that is very low likelihood. There will be 0.00009% that the best thing about AI is its ability to eat or to walk or to sleep. Those words are not going to be having high probability. However, the AI system is going to find that there's much higher probability that this phrase is associated with these words: learn, predict, make, understand, and do. And then the probability of each word associated with this phrase is going to be known to the system. And it will know that learn has the highest probability, 4.5%. So it will output this first to you. If you're asking the system, give me 5 things that AI is able to do, the system is going to give you those 5 things: learn, predict, make, understand, and do. Now let's take this example and apply it to something related to medicine. My question is, how adrenal insufficiency diagnosis is confirmed? So I want to know what is the test that I will use in order to confirm the diagnosis of adrenal insufficiency. Now, the system is going to take adrenal, it will be 1 token, insufficiency, another token, diagnosis, a 3rd token, and confirmed, a 4th token. And is going to go and search for the content. And again, hidden complex operations, millions of operations trying to find what are the words that are more likely to be associated with confirming the diagnosis of adrenal insufficiency. So what's the likelihood that the word octopus is going to be associated with this input? The answer is less than 0.1%. Very unlikely that the word octopus is going to be associated with adrenal insufficiency. So it's not going to give it to you as an output. However, if you ask what is related to number 8, most likely octopus is going to be given to you as top priority in terms of the output. So in this input, what the system is going to be seeing is like maybe ACTH stimulation test has the highest probability. It is more than 95%. And it is very important actually to know that this system is based on probability. Because if you put an input into the system, if you ask the system a question, your answer is going to be given to you just based on the probability. And we understand probability better than anybody else. Okay. So the system will not know that, yes, adrenal insufficiency is confirmed by ACTH stimulation tests, but it knows that, well, within the content, within the database that the AI system has access to, that input was associated with ACTH stimulation tests in more than 95% of the cases. And also it will tell you, it will relate each word to each other. It will find that ACTH is related to adrenal insufficiency and confirmed. And then it will see that stimulation is related to ACTH, and also test is related to stimulation and indirectly related to ACTH. So it will give you the answer, ACTH stimulation test. Okay. So knowing this, we need to understand how this system is going to help us. So, me as a physician, I rely on facts. I need to get the best out of the databases. I don't want something that has a probability of 40%, 30%, or 50%. Now, the more you input into that system, the more accuracy you get. However, you know that most of the literature in medicine lies behind walls, meaning that you cannot access this. You need subscription. You need logins. So the system is not trained on the database of New England Journal of Medicine. It's not trained on the data available in other journals. We're hoping, that's why I say the system will get better. We're hoping that it gets trained on these databases. If you have access to all those databases, you create your own AI system. At that time, you'll be able to train your AI system on larger amount of information. And this is what's happening now in big universities. And if somebody attended the lecture that was given by at the University of Alabama, they have their own AI system that is trained on big medical database. But what I have here as a physician at home or in the hospital, I have access to either 3.5 ChatGPT, which is the prior version, and if you pay a subscription, you have access to 4.0. By the way, ChatGPT 4.0 is available for you for free on the Edge browser, and I'm going to show it to you once we finish this presentation. Now, you know that statistics, all the data for statistics, or let me just say, ChatGPT is better in any structured data. It performs very well when there's clear rules. If you have algorithms, ChatGPT will follow that algorithm. And just think about this for a bit. Now, we're here in the States, we are threatened as physicians to be replaced by physician assistants, right? And I think most of people who work in the States are seeing this, that, they can hire with the same salary for the physician, they can hire 3 PAs. And those PAs perform better than physicians in terms of clear rules, structured data, and algorithms. So the PAs, actually, in one study, the PAs did better in management of asthma or COPD than the physicians. Why? Because they followed the algorithm. They followed the guidelines. We as physicians, we like to be creative. We always come up with ideas. So the outcome may not be the same in things that you have to follow the algorithm or the guidelines. So what I want to say is ChatGPT can easily replace PAs, physician assistants, but it won't be easily able to replace our role. Now, putting this in mind, Well, what's better than statistics to have clear rules, structured data, and algorithms or equations? If you apply the equations right, the outcome is going to be 100% accurate. That's why I put it here on the left. ChatGPT performs very well in those areas where you have clear rules, like give him games, give him the rules, he can learn, he can play the game very well. Similarly, statistics. And this is where we're going to benefit from it as a physician. So I highlighted the areas that we can actually benefit from ChatGPT as physicians. Of course, we're not going to be using it for customer service, but we're going to use it for creative writing, text summarization, and I will give some examples of this. Then it performs moderately to strongly in terms of other functions. He may face some challenges with these complex scenarios in domains that require specific insights. So he doesn't have good insights yet, but it's getting better. So in terms of education and training, and in terms of data analysis, is where we as physicians can benefit from ChatGPT. But we have to be careful that his performance is not going to be as good as he performs in creative writing, text summarization, and statistics. And then it has limited ability in areas that require high levels of expertise, judgment, ethical considerations, and personalized advice. So you can see here on the right side, those areas he struggles with. By the way, this slide is generated by ChatGPT completely. I asked ChatGPT to rank his ability to perform in different domains. And I asked him to put the output in a tabular format. And I asked him to highlight the areas that physicians can benefit from. And this is what I got. So you can see the power of ChatGPT. And this is the beginning. So I probably don't have to go into details in this slide because we already talked about it. But the ChatGPT process is input, transformation, and output. The input is the query that we put into the system. And what ChatGPT does is a process called tokenization, which is converting text into sequence of tokens. And then it encodes these queries to a language that the computer understands, which is the 0101. The next stage is transformation, which is processing these tokens. It's very complicated, requires model parameters, attention mechanisms. That's something that I don't really understand myself. Layer-wise processing using prediction and probability. I explained prediction and probability to you in a way that we as physicians understand the system for the best use of this system for us to help us in our practice. And then the output, the way the system is going to respond to you, there are a lot of processes that will decode, clean up tokenization. There's artifacts, it will be clean for you. It applies the formatting, truncates the output for you. So it's logics applied into the process of outputting this information before it's presented to you. And of course, the benefit of this, you can save time and money. And I can tell you personally, since I started using the AI, the different AI systems, I really saved a lot of time. I'm doing things much faster. I'm able to expand my knowledge. I learned so many new skills outside my expertise. So you don't need to know anything, and I'm not a statistician, but now I can perform any operation in statistics by asking ChatGPT to do this for me. You probably know, some of you, that I code in computer languages, like 5 different computer languages, and like PHP, JavaScript, and all this. And there's no way I can keep up with all this. I know the principles. Now, whatever I want to code for, I ask ChatGPT, can you help me with the coding? I created slides with Visual Basic for applications. Give me the code, put the code in the slides, worked very nice. PowerPoint slides. So it sounds like the most important thing is the prompt. It's actually, since we're saying that the system is going to look at the input, so it's actually, the better you prompt the system, the more likely you're going to get better answer. And I want to give some rules for effective prompting. So the first one is, you need to give a persona or a role to ChatGPT. So start your prompt by saying, I want you to act as historian, a biologist, a physician, researcher. So give ChatGPT a role. So this way he knows that he's restricted to look into data that is related to our expertise. Number 2, provide as much details as possible. Give him as much information as possible. If you have an article, upload it to ChatGPT. If you have a specific direction of an event, tell him that this is what I'm looking for. Give a broad description of the subject that you're looking at, so he knows how to relate the words to each other. Number 3, be very specific in the way you want your output and the format. So you start your prompt by, I want you to act as, here are the details of my information that I need to search. You will then either create an email, make a video, maybe the script, summarize, anything you want. Just be specific on how you want information to be. And then define the format. Say, I want it in tabular format. I want it in a bullet point list, in a chart, in Excel sheet. Just be specific in the format that you want to get from ChatGPT. And tell him the goal and the context. Tell him, my goal is to critique the article, understand the subject. And you can tell him this is going to be used for critical care physicians or internal medicine residents or anything else. And then tell him the style, how you want the style to be. Is he going to use a professional style, a friendly style, a persuasive style, any style you want to use? And the tone that you want him to accommodate. And I can also tell him that, speak similar to Clinton, the previous president, or Martin Luther King, or any other person. So he would accommodate the style of that person and give it to you in that style. And lastly, you can put some constraints. Tell him that do not exceed 10 bullet points. Do not exceed 800 characters or 200 words, etc. And do not include retrospective studies. So you can tell him, do not do this, do not hallucinate, do not give insight, anything. You can tell ChatGPT exactly what you don't want him to do. And let me give you an example of a good prompt. So this is something that, and we're going to see this in our practical session. This is to summarize an article. And look at how I put the prompt. I want you to act as a critic in the medical field. So I define a persona. Here are the details. I will give you an article in PDF format. You will then summarize the article with the most important facts in a format of 10 bullet points and add emojis to each bullet point. My goal is to understand the article, and extract meaningful summary for a presentation at the morning report with internal medicine residents. See how much information I gave him? Please utilize a professional tone and accommodate a teaching style. Do not exceed 10 bullet points and do not hallucinate. State facts only. So before we see how this is applied, I want you to take a look on this slide. And this is the last slide in the presentation. And then we go to ChatGPT and perform those functions. So the first thing that I learned, and this is specifically for physicians. So number one, interactive learning. It can give you explanations, definitions, summaries of complex medical topics. You know, just yesterday in the car, I was like thinking about what's the mechanism of migraine, because we had a case of migraine headache, hemiplegic migraine for our residents. So I asked GPT, what is the mechanism of hemiplegic migraine? And to my surprise, the answer was, it is the cortical spreading, what do you call it? Cortical spreading something that is actually causing this wave of electrical cortical spreading depression that is causing this wave of inaction in the brain functions in the cortex that causes auras. And then this will stimulate the trigeminal nerve afferents. It's like, I never heard of this. Like, is he hallucinating or something? So in fact, I went and looked it up and 100% accurate. This is the mechanisms. I thought, like, you know, we learned that migraine is vasodilatation, vasoconstriction, whatever. It is not that easy, actually. It's much more complicated, and ChatGPT was able to answer the question. You know, you can ask ChatGPT, can you explain to me what is regression analysis? How do they do it? And they will answer you. So it's interactive learning. And you know what? Something else also, when he gives you, you know, a lot of the answers or the output will be complicated. Ask him to simplify it for you. It's like, I don't understand what you're saying. Can you please talk in the language of someone who is 5th grade or younger? I need to get to that level to understand. Give me an example. And you will get a very simple example that a 4th grade will be able to understand. And then you can benefit. You know, there are a lot of things in medical school that we did not understand, actually, and now we're afraid to ask because it will be very embarrassing to talk with ChatGPT and can answer that for you. So that's the first domain that we can benefit from as physicians. Next, you can utilize ChatGPT as personal assistant. He can write your emails, proposals for projects. He can plan for you and organize your work. I will give you an example. And then you can utilize him as a research assistant. He can give you ideas, can help you writing, can analyze data for you, and can give you graphical presentations. And the last thing that I think that you can benefit from it is creativity and professional development. It can advance your career, can give you so many other new pathways where you can learn communication skills, presentation skills, and other technological skills. So before I think that's it for the presentation. I can stop here and apply those examples so you can see how I utilized ChatGPT for my benefit. And if you have any question at this point, I can answer it actually. So in fact, we do, right? So Hassan, I see some questions, right?
I have question, please.
Yes, correct. Yes, who's talking? Sorry, start. Yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my question, Dr. Mazen, when you, for example, I am heart surgeon. When I'm trying to fill text with a specific criteria, for example, I want patient to get image for heart with specific criteria, with a small RV, with small pulmonary valve, and make it as an image. I found totally different with a lot of details. So how can I use ChatGPT to service my description as image?
So
I
I got your question actually, and you can see those images that I generated in this presentation, they are very accurate. But when you have a scientific image, ChatGPT does not function very well. You know, I was able to create an image for the heart with the coronaries close to 95% accuracy. But when you ask him more details, he lacks these details. At this stage, it may be functioning better in the future. So you're 100% accurate. And this is the limitation at this point. Now I see here that there's a correction about the personal data use for post sessions. You know, what I meant is the data, yes, it's going to be used by OpenAI. They have this stored, any personal data that you have, they have it for the company, but it is not available on the internet. You cannot access it. Now, I can invade your computer and get to the cookies that search engine is actually storing on your browser and steal this personal information. That's what I meant by your personal information are not shared in a public domain, but OpenAI has access to anything that you do. And that's why I said, do not share any personal information for the patient. So this is very good correction. I don't see the name of the person who's...
Yeah, it says anonymous attendee.
Yes, anonymous, but thank you very much for clarification.
Excellent. We have a question or a hand up from Mohammed Al-Fatih. Please go ahead, Mohammed. Mohammed Al-Fatih, if you had a question, please go ahead. I can't see his hand anymore. Okay. We have Lubna Al-Gamal asking Mazen, is this session certified? And obviously thanking you for your endless effort.
I'm not sure what he means by certified, but...
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Yeah.
So
this is
give us
part of our
CMEs.
activities on ICU Reach. It's a webinar that is recorded and you can access it at any time. If you're talking about certifications, no, we don't provide certifications for this. This is only to help us as physicians to perform better.
Excellent. Iman asking, please, we need the most easy and available link for ChatGPT.
Excellent. I'll share this now. Yes. Do you have any other questions?
No, then I think the same anonymous attendee may be out of the scope of this session, but I'm interested in being involved in the development of AI or ML to use in medicine and improve the medical practice. Are there known current programs that one can apply in where I can put myself on the right track? My background is critical care and I do code in Python and I'm learning stats and improving my maths now, mashallah.
Well, that's great, actually. Of course, this would not be, we're only users. I think OpenAI may be where you need to contact them with this expertise. They are working in the medical field on something to improve. And I'm going to share one of the AI system that works with evidence, which is Open Evidence AI. And then I give you an example so you can contact them in the information, whatever links they have for contacts, and you can provide your expertise with them.
Mazen, I've got a hand up from Hani Timsah. Please go ahead if you have a question. I hope everybody is unmuted, Mazen, right?
Yes, they are unmuted. And you need to no. You need to unmute him.
Oh, I need to unmute him.
Yes. Give him the mic. So just click on Hani Timsah, allow to talk. So I gave it to him.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Dr. Mazen. Thank you very much. I'm your colleague Hani Timsah from Pediatric Critical Care at King Saud University. Very much appreciated. Amazing the way you simplified a very complex theme to our healthcare providers. And I just wanted to emphasize that when using ChatGPT, really, as you mentioned before, to be careful about the privacy of our patients, our own, even our colleagues' data. So I've been using it since a while, and we are proud to have produced several publications together with colleagues, pioneer colleagues in the medical fields about the ChatGPT. And just a kind reminder to colleagues that it's evolving very fast. And probably, as you mentioned, Dr. Mazen, this is something that's it's gonna be a default for all of us to use it as an assistant, as a co-pilot. Even I think it's Microsoft, they called it Copilot, which is based on ChatGPT. So again, just an emphasis for colleagues to go ahead and use it, but to be careful about what it produces, because it can try to convince you of a wrong answer. The way it chats in a clever way for us as humans. It knows how to yes, falsifying and showing you that you are the correct one. And yes, sorry, because I tried it when it started to roll. I tried it with a word count in an abstract, and I checked the word count. It looks different from what I asked it to do. And then it kept saying sorry, and it will give me another abstract. But again, it's very bad at numbers so far, the way I tried it. So if you try to calculate numbers, it's not yet there, but it's improving. The word to mention that it will keep to evolve. And basically, it's a huge business between giant companies, which is good for us as healthcare workers, looking at big data for us in the healthcare fields. But again, we have to be sure that we are compliant with our healthcare local regulations and our patient privacy, as you mentioned, the HIPAA requirements. Thank you very much again, Dr. Mazen, for this amazing topic. Thank you, Dr. Mazen.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And now when we see the examples, it will actually emphasize what we're talking about. But Dr. Muhammad Al-Fatih, do you want to talk?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Mazen, for really the transformative and elegant presentation. So my question is about, as you know, we are, as a physician, we use the decision supporting tools like the curves, the news score. So my question is, can the ChatGPT or AI can give us or articulating for another disease, making such tools to support our decision?
It's actually, you know, any structured data, if AI has access to it, it will perform wonderfully. If you structure the data for the AI, any algorithm, it will actually be utilized by AI in a good way.
And that's great. My last question is regarding the prevalence. As you know, as a physician, we use the prevalence, like, for example, fever and vomiting in Sudan, malaria, fever and vomiting in UK is different. Does this prevalence affecting the ChatGPT AI?
Well, thank you very much. This is a great question, Dr. Muhammad. ChatGPT is influenced by who's inputting in the internet. So since we're going to be looking at prediction, data from the Middle East, African countries are limited. And then when ChatGPT is going to search the data that is available to him, he will only utilize the data that is coming from the Western countries. In fact, this is one way that they can dominate with everything. So this is, you know, if somebody has a loud voice, ChatGPT is going to hear that first. You know, it's going to be influenced by those speakers, international speakers, the presidents, the social influencers, much more than me and you. We have no voice on the internet, actually. So this is a great question. We need to be, we need to understand that geographical differences will make a difference in the answers ChatGPT is going to give you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed the session.
So let me walk you through some examples. So this is the prompt that I gave you in the presentation. I want you to act as a critic in the medical field. Here are the details. I will give you an article. Then you will summarize the article for me in 10 bullet points. and add emojis to each bullet point. My goal is to understand the article. So what I did here, you can see, Hassan, you see the screen, right? I just want to make sure.
Yes, Mazen, yeah, very clear. Thank you.
So what I did is I uploaded the classic trial, which is the recent trial in critical care medicine. And look at this. He gave me the summary in 10 bullet points. He added a single emoji to each of this. So restrictive versus standard IV therapy. Median volumes of IV was 1,700 versus 3,800. Trial included this much number of patients. Primary outcome, no significant difference. And then it gave me, do I have insight here? I don't think so. No, I didn't ask him to give me insight. So he did not give any insight. So this is great. Of course, as I said, you need to read this and make sure that everything is factual. So the next question, I asked ChatGPT, this is for the same study. But what I ask him now is, please extract the research question in PICO format and put in a tabular format for each of the component of the PICO question. Include summary of how did the researcher approach each component. My goal is to understand and so. So look at this. The PICO format for the study. Population, adult patients with septic shock who received at least 1 liter of intravenous fluid. See how easy I got to know that those patients already received 1 liter? This is a classic study. The intervention is restricted. The comparison was standard intravenous. And the outcome is, the primary outcome is death from any cause within 90 days. And then I asked him to put that in a tabular format. This is what he did. Gave me the component, the description of this component, and the approach taken in the classic trial. And here it says included if the onset of shock has been within 12 hours before screening. See how easy I get to know the information, specific information, and you can do more and more questions. The third example here, I asked him to critique an article, and the same article, like focus on the research question. How did they do it? What is the internal validity of the results of the primary outcome? And what is the external validity? Discuss limitations and strengths that support a conclusion. And look at this. Gave me description of the internal validity, and then talked about the external validity. And look at this. However, generalizability to non-European settings or different healthcare system may be limited. It's really good descriptive, actually. Limitations, the strength of the study, and here I ask him to give me insight. So conclusion, and then insights and overall evaluation. So look at what he says. The classic trial, methodologically sound approach yields evidence suggesting that restrictive fluid strategy does not improve mortality outcomes in adult ICU patients with septic shock. This could significantly impact fluid management protocols in sepsis care. The trial's limitation should be considered when interpreting the results, and future research could address this limitation for more definitive guidance. It's really good, actually. You know, if this is for Journal Club, I like it. I love it. Let's take a look here, what I did. And you can actually, as I said, you can talk with ChatGPT and tell him exactly what you want. And here, what I wanted him to know, to do is the following. I will give you 2 articles in PDF format. Ask me to upload the second one after the first one is uploaded. So I want you to see how that happened. So I uploaded the classic trial here. And then look what his answer was. Thank you for uploading the first article. Please go ahead and upload the second article so I can proceed with the analysis and comparison as you requested. So what I wanted from him is compare the classic trial with the Clover's trial. And this is what he did. So he put the information in a tabular format, the study design, this is a classic, this is a Clover, the sample size, the settings, the intervention, the primary outcome, and so forth. So I was able to compare the 2 studies together in just few seconds. This is how to utilize it for your academic learning and learning interaction. Now, as I said, the second application for ChatGPT would be for your you can use it for your personal as a personal assistant. And here, like for me as a residency associate program director, I write a lot of letters. So I have this resident, and this is actually not a this is a fake name, Prashant Khan, who is interested to go into gastroenterology. So I asked him to act as a director of residency program and write a recommendation letter for Prashant Khan, who's currently a third-year resident and applying for a fellowship in gastroenterology. Prashant performed exceptionally at all levels, including medical knowledge, application of knowledge, learning, and teaching. So I gave him, this is what I meant by give him as much information as you have. It's like, it doesn't have to be perfect English. You can write anything. He will be able to understand what you mean. Even if you have typo, you can have misspelled words, anything like this is fine. He will be able to. His ethical values are high, do not exceed 1,500 words, and here are the results. Put me as a program director. This is a recommendation letter, and here you go. You can read this letter. It's very elegant letter. Utilizes a very good, especially for us who are not native speakers in English. This is great, actually. We struggle finding the right words to put them together in a strong letter. Of course, you need to read this letter and make sure that it's applicable to the attributes of this specific residence. And then you can send it. This is great utilization of ChatGPT as your personal assistant. Now, another example. So let's assume that you are a resident and you came late to the morning report, and you want to send a letter to the program director that you are late. So here what you say, write an email to my program director to explain why I was late for the morning report since I woke up late. Make it in an apologetic way. And it's actually very nice email. Unfortunately, I overslept this morning, which was completely unintentional and not typical of my usual commitment of punctuality. I understand the importance of being on time, especially for such critical discussions. Believe me, if I have to think about an email, it will take me 2 hours before I can come up with the right words to put them together in a nice way to send an apology to my program director this way. Now, this is the second domain. The third domain is utilizing ChatGPT for your research, analysis, and ideas. So first, let me give you this prompt. Give me 3 ideas for research projects in internal medicine residency program required for my graduation. This could be a retrospective study or a quality project. And here you go. He gave 3 different ideas about retrospective analysis of antibiotic stewardship, quality improvement project, and retrospective study. By the way, my son utilized ChatGPT to have ideas about research projects in dermatology. And he was able to get one of the ideas that his mentor liked. He's at University of Southern California. And he started the study, and now they submitted the article for journals for publication. And actually, Dr. Forgot your name, Dr. Timsah, Hani Timsah, mentioned that they utilized ChatGPT to publish multiple articles. In the same domain, in terms of research, you can analyze data. And here what I did is I just uploaded employee sample data for a company and asked him to act as statistician and give detailed descriptive analysis of the data in the attached Excel sheet. And here you go. You got all this detailed data, and then the numeric data analysis gave you the mean age, the standard deviation, and then annual salary, the bonus percentage, and so forth. And then I asked ChatGPT, can you compare the average salary between females and males and give me statistical analysis and represent the data in appropriate graphs. And this is what he gave me. This is the average salary for both, but I wanted statistical analysis, so it was not enough for me, and you will see what I did. So this is the average for females, and this is for the males. This is the t-test that they use. This is the p-value. There is no difference. And I said, place in histogram, and he plotted all the salaries for me in this histogram. And I wanted to actually get the difference. So I need a box plot. So I asked him to put a box plot for me for the salaries. And this is the average. It gave me the median. This is the range for the females compared to males. You can see, and you can actually ask about any complicated, probably not very advanced statistical methods, but the ones that actually fulfill most of our functions are done very well with ChatGPT. And the last, actually, I want to say that I said the application for ChatGPT, number one, our learning, number one, assistant, personal assistant, number three, research assistant, and number four, professional development. You can learn so much from ChatGPT. If you have a weakness in any field, like you don't know how to create a PowerPoint presentation, just ask ChatGPT to teach you. Would you be able to teach me how I create a PowerPoint presentation with fascinating backgrounds? And that's what he did. Gave you all the ideas actually about how you can modify and do this. And now actually to one of the doctor mentioned that Copilot. And Copilot now is part of Microsoft. And you can see that you can have, let me see, where did I open it? Okay, so I think I opened it here. So this is the recent study that is published by JAMA Network. And what you can do is the following. You can open any page on the internet. Okay? So you can see here I have access to the whole article. And then you can click on the Copilot, and it will open this for you. And you can ask any generate page summary. So this is Copilot is actually looking at this study now and trying to generate the summary. And this is actually the summary. It's the Inspire Pneumonia trial. And how did they do it? What are the important ones? And so forth. So Copilot now is available in all Microsoft components. Unfortunately, it's not free on the Microsoft Office. You can, I think it's $20 per month, but it's available in PowerPoint, in Excel sheets, and also in Words. And you can, but if you have ChatGPT, you need to go to ChatGPT, do what you want to do, and then go back to your Microsoft component if you don't want to pay for it. And of course, I'm not advising, I'm not advertising for you to utilize Copilot. The other thing I want you to see is Open Evidence AI. So for the doctor who asked about the link, for the ChatGPT, you go to openai.com. And you can create an account, and then you go to ChatGPT directly. For Open Evidence AI, go to openevidence.com. And you will see how powerful this. And this is actually, it accesses information, recent information. So you can ask any question about latest standards or latest evidence. You probably, I'm not sure, I forgot if you need MPI to create an account. Not sure about people who are outside the States, but you can try it and see. Let me know if you don't have any problem with it, so I can actually advertise for it more. It's a great tool where not only gives you the links exactly where it's coming from, but also summarizes this for you. So this is a summary of the first, it's like writing an article for you. And I see that actually someone on YouTube commented that thank you very much. Many of the lectures at your ICU Reach sounds like they are generated by AI to the degree that we started doubting ourselves whether you're talking or somebody else from AI is talking. Yes, I utilize AI on my ICU Reach website, and let me just direct you to one of the articles that was completely generated by AI. So this is the silent sacrifices of the intensivist. And I just gave the idea. The image is created by AI. The whole script is created by AI. You can read through it. It's really very effective, very touchy. I almost cried when I was reading it because it represents my life, how difficult our life is as intensivists.
You
And
didn't
you can
know that you
see,
could write that, Mazen.
say that again.
You couldn't believe that you could write that nicely, Mazen.
Yeah, you're right, 100%. The language, the content, how it related things together. It's really good tool that you can benefit from it in different applications. So I think that's all what I have for you, and we can have more. It's 2 o'clock already here. 5 minutes past.
Mazen, just Lubna Al-Gamal would like to speak. Her hand is up.
Go ahead.
If you could give her I think you need to give her the mic. I can't do that for some reason.
Okay, so let me take a look here.
There were a couple of questions,
Lubna,
but you answered them.
yeah, Lubna, you will be able to talk. Hani, if you want to talk again, so I gave you the mic, and Lubna, you should be able to talk, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Thank
Hi.
you for this amazing lecture. As I'm an intensivist and highly interested in medical education, actually, I have a master's degree in medical education. So I have some experience in using AI tools in ICU training, like ChatGPT, Cloud AI, Ask AI, Gemini. And so, by the way, Cloud AI is highly, highly recommended. Actually, I used the AI in curriculum design of ICU training program, or creating evaluation form, sometimes in creating assessment methodologies, case scenario creation, even in proposal, how to make a proposal. Also, I used AI in skill lab implementation step and the checklist of equipment in skill lab, writing essay, innovative teaching methodology, and survey questionnaire to detect learner style in ICU resident. So I'm totally agree with you. It's a highly recommended. It's the language of this era. And again, thank you for this contribution.
Thank you, Lubna. You actually reminded me of a presentation that I did using AI. So I wanted to share with the rest. You can see the power, how it can, your imagination can take you anywhere with ChatGPT. So this is, if you did not live in the States, you may not be probably familiar with Jeopardy, but this is the presentation is not moving forward. Now it's moved. Okay, so this is a Jeopardy style questions. And Jeopardy is a famous game in the States here, and I think it's in different countries also. And you give like categories and different points for each question. And the question should be asked, and the answers that should be given to you should be given to you in a question format. So like this, you see the image here, the prompt that you give. This condition is marked by a mottled purplish pattern on the skin, often appearing in a lace-like formation. It can be seen in patients with experiencing severe shock and hypoperfusion. The answer should be, what is livedo reticularis? And in fact, what I did, I put create a Jeopardy-style question for livedo reticularis. And I did not change anything. This is what I got from ChatGPT. And you can see this is for every single question that I put on that Jeopardy. It was a great tool. All those descriptions were very accurate. Again, you are responsible for making sure that the information that you get from ChatGPT is actual and real and scientific. Any other questions?
Thank you. If you may allow me, Dr. Mazen, again, thank you for the amazing explanation and enlightening presentation. And as you mentioned, I will just second what you mentioned, that we are responsible as healthcare workers to how we use it. It's another excellent tool in our what do you call, Armentum.
Toolbox.
And similar Toolbox, exactly. Same like your topic, and similar to when Google came a couple of decades ago and people were still hesitant to use it. I think it's, again, time for all of us as healthcare workers to invest on it. But remember that we are the ones responsible of how we use it, and just to make sure we are presenting something which is actual fact in the medical field. Again, thank you very much, Dr. Mazen.
Good. Yeah, I got here a question on YouTube. So the access, I mean, ChatGPT now is updated till I think April 2023. So anything later than this, I don't think ChatGPT is going to give you the information. However, you can pull up any page on internet and you can ask the Copilot to summarize, to give you insight, to do any graphs from it. So it can read this page for you. And also, you can get any new article like the Classic and the Glover's articles. I uploaded this to ChatGPT. So once you upload the information to ChatGPT, the ChatGPT has access to this information. And that's what I meant in the prompt, that give him as much information as possible to be able to get what you need from it. So
two quick questions, Mazen, if you may.
Yeah.
How do you upload articles?
So if let me go back to so now this is, I'm starting, actually we can have hours talking about the functionality of ChatGPT. So you can see here how I created my own ChatGPTs. So this is Medi paraphrasing. You know, when you see the studies that I'm summarizing for you on ICU Reach, I use the Medi paraphrasing for it. So I created the prompt, I improved the prompt, and put it as my ChatGPT so I can utilize it. So, and then sometimes I summarize things in just like 3 sentences. This is the excerpt scholar, I called it, and then study summarizer, Health Insight blogger, and you have other ChatGPT engines. You can see here, there are so many functions actually. You can see this is for images, writing, productivity, research analysis, programming. All those are ChatGPT engines. They used to call them plugins. Now they stopped that. This is now, it's like the store for Apple or Microsoft. This is the store for ChatGPT. And most of those are actually, once you pay for ChatGPT 4, those are accessible for you. But now, let's just start a new function here. So you can see this is the prompt, and there's an attachment here. So this is where you attach whatever you want. This is the employee sample data. You can attach anything you want. A PowerPoint presentation, Excel sheet, a PDF format. So this is steroid COPD in, this is a PDF for steroid. And then give me, you can just be very quick, give me summary, please. And then this is now uploaded. You can see steroid COPD, and this is one of my residents. I hope he doesn't mind that I uploaded this here. And then you can see how, looked at the study. This is a peak of, now by the way, once I start doing a lot of queries with ChatGPT, he would know how I like to get the outcome or the output. And you can see how it applied the Pico format for me, gave me the results, the conclusion, the limitation. So it read the study for me. Okay. And you can say here, please shorten it. So as I said, you can talk with ChatGPT back and forth and see.
Mazen,
excellent.
I've got our old friend, Dr. Hussein Al-Awadi.
Oh, Hussein.
Give him the mic, please. Then there's a couple of more questions for you on the chat.
If Hussein is a pioneer in using ChatGPT. So go ahead, Hussein. You have the mic.
Just unmute yourself, Dr. Hussein. You are still muted.
Thank
Yes.
you, Martin, Dr. Martin, for this nice review. I joined late, but I always learn from you. I always learn from you. So I just had a comment only, actually. For the last 10 years, when we a robot on the TV or somewhere, there's always a female robot. But when you talk about ChatGPT, you say, I give him, I told him. So at least we have a rule. Shukran jazeera. You didn't say, I give her, I told her. Thank you.
Very interesting. Thank you, Hussein.
Very
Mazen,
interesting, yes.
سؤال from Muhammad الفلالي. Does ChatGPT 3.5 differ from fourth version?
Yes, more reasoning. Okay, so ChatGPT 4 is more accurate, has more reasoning compared to ChatGPT 3.5. So it is actually ChatGPT 3.5 is not the best if you want to have higher level of knowledge. You really need to have this level of reasoning, relating, and predicting. So ChatGPT 4, and then it will be ChatGPT. I think they are working on ChatGPT 5 and so forth. So it will get better and better.
Another question, Mazen, from Aboud Fahel. If I upload my case abstract for ChatGPT to analyze, would it save it to the ChatGPT platform? So will others have access to it?
Others will not have access to it, but OpenAI will have access and will utilize the information, yes.
So potentially he will steal your data. Oh my God.
Yes, anything that you share can be stolen, but that's actually the purpose of, I think there's disclaimer that they would use the information that you upload to improve the system. That's the company is a huge company, by the way. Microsoft has, I think, 49% of their shares. It's not public yet. Again, I have to disclose here, we do this in the States. Even though I prepared this lecture long time ago, at that time, I did not have any financial interest in OpenAI or ChatGPT. I have to disclose that over the past 2 weeks, I do have shares in private shares in OpenAI, but I really do not advertise for the use. I'm just talking about the technology of OpenAI and ChatGPT. There are a lot of other engines available. Google came up with Brad, I believe. And
Gemini now, Gemini. They changed
Gemini,
it to
they changed the name. Yeah. Okay, yes, I didn't like Brad.
It was bad, I think.
I have to be transparent in terms of my conflict of interest.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your transparency, as usual, Mazen. Masterful, mashallah. I don't have any further questions, Mazen.
Okay, and let me look here at...
Can I delete my history search in ChatGPT permanently? That's from Dr. Al-Awadi, a quick question. Can I delete my history search in ChatGPT permanently?
No, you cannot. You can delete your browser, but here, if you take a look on this, you can delete this. See, delete chat, but not from OpenAI. It does not delete from the engine.
So from your computer, but not from the
yes, only from your computer. Yes.
All right. Good. I think that's
so for people who, if they ask about those images, they are not generated by ChatGPT. You will have very bad luck if you go and look at this image. How clear this image? All those images are generated. Take a look on those images. Those are generated by Midjourney. It's another AI application. I think it's the best in terms of images, and I don't have shares in Midjourney. Okay.
Excellent. A question from University Children's Hospital. Should we freeze our mind with ChatGPT as we did before? The same.
It's on the contrary.
I think that's rhetorical.
Believe me, it opened more channels for me as a person to understand learning, interaction, new knowledge, acquire new information than before. So in fact, I'm more stimulated with ChatGPT and AI systems compared to the traditional education system. I don't believe that students should be taught the same way we were taught. I think we just acquire so much information that we don't have to. I think we need to free up our minds in a way that we relate, we rational, we can compare in a way that we can utilize those systems for the best of our benefits. But that's a great question. Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much, Mazen. That's all from the question from the chat box.
Okay, excellent. So again, this is recorded and you can access it on YouTube. And thank you very much for your attendance. I think the next webinar is going to be by Dr. I'm not sure if Dr. Sanuri is with us today, but he will be having the next webinar. I will announce for it on ICU Reach. You can always follow us on ICUReach.com. If you're not subscribed to the newsletter, please do. I get those out either every 2 weeks or depending on the publications. So please subscribe to the Journal Club, I mean to the newsletter, and follow us on our social platforms. So you get to hear about the latest from our sessions. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Hassan, for your moderation. Next time, I hope that Grace or Jennifer will be with us too, and we'll continue delivering high-level knowledge to everyone around the world. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mazen. Take care, everybody. Jazakallah khair.